Imagine a typical morning in India. The sun rises over Delhi, traffic flows steadily. Mumbai's local trains are packed with commuters. Children laugh as they walk to school. Airplanes glide smoothly above, and markets buzz with life. People scroll through their smartphones, completely unaware of what's about to happen. The city breathes in harmony, a sense of routine and safety in the air. But suddenly, a strange silence falls. All sounds stop, and a deep, unsettling bass vibrates through the atmosphere. The screen fades to black, and a single question appears: what if, for just 5 seconds, gravity vanished from Earth? In an instant, the unimaginable happens. Gravity disappears. Cars begin to float off the roads, people are lifted from the ground, and water starts to rise from oceans and rivers, forming surreal floating droplets. Airplanes lose control, drifting helplessly in the sky. Street objects, from bicycles to market stalls, rise into the air. Dogs and birds spin in confusion, smartphones slip from hands and hover. Buildings tremble as their foundations lose grip. Panic erupts, but everything moves in eerie slow motion, amplifying the chaos. The world as we know it is turned upside down in a single second. Effects are not limited to one city or country. Across the globe, massive ocean waves rise as water escapes its bounds. Satellites begin to malfunction, their orbits thrown into disarray. Trains derail, bridges collapse, and astronauts in space stations are left confused, their instruments going haywire. Aircraft plummet as they lose lift, and citywide panic spreads. The world's infrastructure, built on the constant of gravity, starts to unravel. The chaos is overwhelming, and the planet is on the brink of disaster, all in just a few seconds. Cities across India and the world are transformed into surreal landscapes. Vehicles, market stalls, and even pets float midair. People desperately grab onto anything anchored, trying to avoid being swept away. Skyscrapers sway as their foundations lose stability. The familiar hustle of city life is replaced by haunting silence, broken only by the distant sounds of chaos. The sky is filled with objects that once belonged firmly on the ground. It's a scene straight out of a science fiction movie, but it's happening in real life. Gravity vanishes, human emotions range from disbelief to terror. Some try to hold on to streetlights or railings, while others are caught mid-step and float helplessly. Parents reach for their children, and friends try to help each other stay grounded. The fear is visible on every face as people realize they have no control. The world's most basic force has disappeared, and with it the sense of safety everyone took for granted. The emotional impact is as intense as the physical chaos. Not just humans, but animals too are caught in the chaos. Dogs, cats, and birds are lifted off the ground, spinning and tumbling in the air. Stray animals in the streets float alongside people, while birds, usually masters of the sky, lose their sense of direction. The animal kingdom is as confused and terrified as humanity. The scene is both surreal and heartbreaking, highlighting how interconnected all life is to gravity. One of the most dramatic effects is on water. Oceans, rivers, and lakes begin to lose their water, which floats upward in massive, shimmering droplets. Rain that was about to fall hangs suspended in the air. Boats and ships are left stranded as water escapes beneath them. The loss of gravity means the planet's water cycle is thrown into total disarray, threatening life everywhere. High above, airplanes are suddenly without lift. Pilots struggle to control their aircraft as they drift unpredictably. Passengers are thrown from their seats, floating inside the cabin. The sky, once a symbol of freedom and progress, becomes a place of terror. Air traffic controllers watch helplessly as planes lose their way, and the risk of disaster grows with every passing second. Satellites and communication systems are thrown into chaos. Without gravity, satellites drift from their orbits, causing global communication blackouts. GPS systems fail and the internet slows to a crawl. The world's reliance on technology is exposed, as even the most advanced systems are powerless against the laws of physics. The modern world grinds to a halt, adding to the sense of helplessness. Even astronauts in space are affected. Used to microgravity, they now find their instruments malfunctioning as the balance of forces changes. Confusion spreads in the International Space Station as astronauts try to understand what's happening on Earth. The event is unprecedented, and even those trained for the unknown are left searching for answers. Back on Earth, the infrastructure begins to fail. Bridges, no longer anchored by gravity, start to collapse, buildings sway dangerously, and some begin to crumble. The foundations of modern civilization are literally and figuratively shaken. Emergency services are overwhelmed, and the sense of security is shattered. Crowded markets, once filled with life, are now scenes of mayhem. Stalls, goods, and people float in the air. Vendors try to hold onto their merchandise while shoppers are caught mid-transaction, suspended above the ground. The chaos is both terrifying and surreal as the familiar becomes unrecognizable. Children on their way to school are suddenly lifted off their feet. Teachers and parents rush to protect them, but the force is too strong. School bags, books, and lunchboxes float alongside the children. The innocence of childhood is shattered by the sudden, inexplicable danger. Gravity is the invisible force that holds everything together. It keeps us grounded, gives weight to objects, and controls the movement of planets and stars. Without it, the universe would be chaos. For 5 seconds, humanity experiences what life would be like without this fundamental force, a lesson in the power of nature. As the seconds tick by, everything seems to move in slow motion. People, animals, and objects float higher, the world caught in a silent ballet of chaos. The suspense is unbearable as everyone waits for gravity to return. The silence is broken only by the distant sounds of destruction. With each passing second, hope and fear mix. People cling to whatever they can, praying for gravity's return. The world holds its breath, counting down the seconds. The suspense is overwhelming as everyone wonders what will happen next. Suddenly, gravity snaps back. Everything that was floating crashes back to Earth. People, animals, cars, and objects fall, some safely, others with injury. The chaos is replaced by a stunned silence. The world is forever changed by those 5 seconds. In the aftermath, cities are left in ruins. Emergency services rush to help the injured. Families search for each other in the debris. The world is united in shock and grief, but also in relief that the ordeal is over. The scars of those 5 seconds will last a lifetime. Scientists and leaders gather to understand what happened. The event becomes a lesson in humility and the importance of forces we take for granted. The world vows to be better prepared for the unknown and to respect the power of nature. Life slowly returns to normal, but nothing is quite the same. People appreciate the simple act of walking on the ground. The world is more united, having survived a shared disaster. The memory of those 5 seconds lingers, a reminder of how fragile life can be. In the end, we are reminded of the invisible forces that shape our lives. Gravity, silent and unseen, is the thread that holds our world together. For 5 seconds we glimpsed a world without it and learned to never take it for granted again.